Advocate Mnisi indicated that would like to hand it up. The last exhibit was the W series, but we just want to keep it together with the previous affidavit of Brigadier Gininda that was handed up in the trial within a trial. Just looking for the reference to that affidavit. I think it would be Linda. Anyway, we will come back to it just now. Just before we adjourn, my lord, we just wanted to make quick 2 points. And the first one was that my colleague referred to the issue of intention, the minimum sentence legislation, and said, and said the state was misconstruing the issue of motive. We submit that motive and intention should be distinguished. What the minimum sentence legislation is referring to, its intention, not motive. And we mentioned, my lord, that motive as well as the commission of the crime should not be conflated. And just briefly, Stayman's Criminal Law, 7th edition, says at page 169, intention must not be confused with motive for committing the crime. In determining whether acts acted with intention, the motive behind the act is immaterial. And just secondly, my lord, these issues that we're debating are the issues which at the end of the case the court will have to make a finding on. So we are in our submission, my lord, that we're dealing with or we're arguing the issues that should be argued at the end of the trial and not at this point. Thank you. The last exhibit of Brigadier Gininda was exhibit ZZ. Maybe we can make this exhibit ZZ1, okay, just to keep them together. Thank you, ma'am.
Any response about section 51? 1 and 2. Yes.
Thank you, my lord. Thank you, Brigadier. I am just trying to find out if I'm done with ZZ1, the statement that we were busy with before we went on the lunch break. you. It's just a general question. It came many a time in your evidence in chief. You kept on saying that Kelly, there are numbers of a cell phone that Kelly did not disclose to the police, not so?
That is correct, my lord.
Kukhona inamba ezingavezwanga amaphoyisa nathi yebo.
It sounds to me like if that is really a correct statement is put the way in which you are putting it. In other words, Kelly willfully, and I said I'm not here to plead her case, but then Kelly willfully held the information from the police.
Well, indlela ekuzwakala ngayo ngathi uthi uKelly wafihla ngenhloso ulwazi oluthize emaphoyiseni.
My lord, I'm not sure how should I answer that because the context in which these numbers were discovered through the expert is that they were active and they were being used on that day. So I'm not sure anything else I'll be speculating. What I know is that they were active and they were not disclosed to the investigation team at that time. They only gave 2 numbers. Those are the facts in the docket, my lord.
Hayi ngikwazi ukuthi nje lezi numbers zange zivezwe emaphoyiseni kodwa zokuyinamba ezisebenzayo azizange nje zivezwe emaphoyiseni.
Yes, because I would then have asked you if you've got any form of information or knowledge or even evidence to suggest that they asked her if she's got other further numbers and then she decided to say, no, I don't have numbers except, cell phones, except for the one that I gave you.
Angazi noma unalo ulwazi lokuthi bambuza yena wathi unazo yini ezinye inamba yena ke ungaziveza kodwa waveza nje kuphela athi nazo enginazo.
My lord, I was not there on the first investigation team that was dealing with this matter. All I know is that these numbers were not disclosed, but the details of the interaction of the police officers with Ms. Kelly Kumalo, I think that will be left for them, my lord.
Cha ngingekho ngesikhathi ke ebuzwa kodwa ukuthi bayakhuluma bathini naye. Ukuthi mniningwane yakho niyathola.
Thank you, Brigadier. That was just by way of intro, because I got a little bit concerned when you kept on saying that she did not disclose, as if they requested her all the numbers and then she decided to disclose some and not disclose others. But thanks, as you say, you don't know what actually transpired today.
Hayi ukuthi nje ukukhuluma ukuthi bekuzwakala sengathi uthakavezanga lo vele kwabasengathi uthi wayenenhloso yokuzifihla lezi namba.
My lord, I'm saying they were not disclosed. I'm not dragging myself to the conversation with the police. If you look at the docket, there's nowhere where they said these numbers were disclosed. They were not known to the police. That's what I'm saying.
Ongishoyo ukuthi nje inamba zivezwanga nokuthi ke azizange zidluliselwe emaphoyiseni.
The only numbers that were disclosed insofar as the docket is concerned are the 2 cell phone numbers, the runaway phone and the one that was downloaded. That's what is contained in the docket.
Ngikwazi ukuthi izimbili nje inamba ezalethwa kuthiwa ilenye nale yade download.
Thank you, Brigadier. Now, there's yet another statement, affidavit, which you made. I am just not so sure whether this one was made in application for a certain information to be made available to the investigating team, but it seems to me like it is a standalone affidavit, and it is labeled as page 100 as A198, and it has got 6 pages. It was deposed to. There's a date stamp there. It has got 6 pages. There's a date stamp there. It has actually got 2. The commissioning part, which is handwritten, has got a date of the 3rd of October 2020, and it was done by Detective Sergeant Bibi Mohola. But then there's also a date stamp there, which is dated the 23rd of October 2020, As I read it here, it's from the Senior Public Prosecutor, Boxback, something like that. I'm not so sure whether you've got it. But the one, may I just show you this one that I have?
No, it's not necessary, my lord. I've got it. That is the.
Oh, you've got it.
I've got it. That is the affidavit in relation to the application of the warrant of arrest for all the accused before court.
Khona-ke le affidavit oyibhala angazi noma i-affidavit ingathi i-affidavit eyayizimele and lena i-A198 inamakhasi ayisithupha sengathi-ke lana ya-commissioner ngomhla 3 October 2020 futhi khona-ke futhi nenye-ke idate lapho mhla 23 October 2020 ngathi idluliselwe ku-Senior Public Prosecutor ngicabanga ukuthi wase Boxback. Siyaphendula ukuthi no yayimayelana nokukhishwa kwama-warrant of arrest kusho ukuthi incwadi esigunyaza ukuboshwa kwabasolwa.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Ramusipil is bringing to my attention that there is an affidavit dated 23 October 2020 as Exhibit ZZ that has already been admitted, my lord. I'm not so sure whether it's this one, because as I'm saying this one, the handwritten date says the 3rd of October 2020, but the stamp which was fixed by the Senior Public Prosecutor Boxback says 23/10/2020. So I'm not so sure which one was admitted. It's the same one. Okay, thank you. That's Exhibit ZZ. Thank you. That's Exhibit ZZ. Ne? Thank you, my lord. I'm told it's already on record as Exhibit ZZ. Thank you, my lord. Now, I would want us to go to paragraph 3. I think now that it was already. I can't remember the circumstances under which.
You just set it up by Mr.
Ngomezu.
Mezulu when he was arguing that the warrants are lawfully obtained. Am I correct, sir?
I beg your pardon, my
I
lord.
say Mr. Ngomezulu used to utilize it when he was arguing that the warrants
Correct, my lord.
was incorrect.
That is correct, my lord.
Unlawfully issued, etc., etc.
Correct, my lord.
As it please the court, my lord, I would assume that, very cautiously though, that it has already been authenticated, my lord.
Yes.
Thank you, my lord.
That's why I'm able to quote what it was uphanded for.
As it please the court, my lord. Paragraph 3.3 of the affidavit. The anti-penultimate sentence of his affidavit, that is the last but one, that starts with, upon the accused arrest, 3.3 in both letters deals with the circumstances of accused number 3, Mr. Mtobisi Prince Mnuwe. Now,
Correct, my lord.
yes, the anti-penultimate sentence there states, that's last but one, says, upon the accused arrest for a 2015 convicted murder, a cell phone was seized in his possession. Now, the cell phone downloading of his cell phone were done. Now we go to page 4 of the affidavit. It reads thus. The photos found on his cell phone memory showed him wearing the same clothes that were identified by witnesses on the day of the incident, as the accused was in possession of the revolver upon entering the house. He carried the revolver upon entering the house. Are you with me?
I'm listening, my lord.
Thank you, Mr. Ndlovu.
Kukhona ke umusho lapha owandulela umusho wasekugcineni. Uthi ke lo musho ke ekuboshweni ke kukaMsolwa ngo2015 ukuboshweni kaMsolwa eboshelwa ukubulala ngo2015 iselfoni ke yathathwa kuyena le cellphone ke kusho ukuthi kwakhishwa okungaphakathi kwa downloadwa and futhi izithombe ezatholakala kuleyo cellphone zamkhombisa yena egqoke lezi impahla ezakhonjwa ofakazi ngaleli langa lesehlakalo kuthiwa uyena lo Msolwa owayephethe ivolovolo engena endlini.
Thank you, Brigadier. Now, wearing the same clothing that were identified by witnesses on the day of the incident. Let us just pause there. That's the extract that I would want us to concentrate on. Wearing the same clothing that were identified by witnesses on the day of the incident. Thank you. I want us to
Asebuleli
concentrate.
phuzu ke litho egqoke impahla ekuyilezi impahla ezazigqokwe ezakhonjwa njengeimpahla ezazi ofakazi kuthiwa kwakuyimpahla ezazigqokiwe ngelanga lesehlakalo ezigqokwe uMsolwa owayephethe isibhamu.
Thank you. Now, may you kindly explain to this court, when you tell the magistrate that these clothing were identified by witnesses as the clothing that he wore on that day, when did this identification take place of this clothing?
Manje ke lezi impahla leyo kwakuphuma phike kwavela nini ukuthi ayigqoke lezi impahla njoba washo ku utshela imanje.
So, my lord, I think perhaps we must read the sentence in terms of what he's saying, and then you'll understand, because there's no confusion insofar as I understand it. I'm saying, this is now if you go to page 4, the photos found on his cell phone memory showed him wearing the same clothing that were identified by witnesses on the day of the incident.
Yes.
Witnesses identified that the guy, the suspect with a firearm, was wearing a brown khaki jacket.
Yes.
I've referred to what to those pictures. So if you read the meaning of it, I think perhaps we're reading it in a different context with Advocate Mnisi. There was a description given, a downloading is done, he is seen, and we dealt with those photos where he's wearing a khaki top. That's it. So it's not saying there was a physical identification of the clothing. If you read that sentence collectively, you'll understand the meaning, my lord.
Yebo, la kufanele ufunde iyonke ukuthi uze ukuthi kuthiwa ngoba vele bese sichazile ngakhombisa mfuna sisithombeni ukuthi nanga yaloko akwakusho lapha kwavela phela eshofonini lesisithombe lesikhombisayo ukuthi wayegqoke into enje kwakungekona ukuthi kwahamba wayokhonjwa kuthiwa nanga ugqokile cha iloko kwavela lapha esithombeni ukuthi wayegqoke lezi impahla lezi sichazwa ebathu mabekhuluma ngazo abasolo zabonakala nasesithombeni.
Brigadier, let me help you. This sentence simply says, upon accused number 3's phone being downloaded, they found certain photos. Those photos were then taken to the witnesses to go and identify the clothes.
That is not what the sentence is saying. The brigadiers explained that it merely says, they describe the clothing in their sentence. I don't know whether counsel wants to take issue with him about what he wrote in his own statement.
I'm not so sure whether I need to respond there, because I am reading what is annotated here, what is written here. There is no word description here. It says unless the brigadier is saying now, no, it could have been the fact that I was let down by the usage of the terms or English. I actually intended to say the clothing that appeared on the photos that were downloaded on the cell phone memory fit the description. Is that what you intended to say, Brigadier?
My lord, in English you get synonyms. One way it may be interpreted in a different way. I've explained what I meant. There was no identification of clothing and the docket speak itself on the day of the incident. What was given is the type of clothing the perpetrators were wearing. Now I've said if you take that to the downloadings, and I've testified about it, that there were similarities in terms of the jacket, the top, the brownish khaki jacket worn by accused 3. That's what this sentence means. So if Advocate Mnisi wants to interpret the word identification as being a physical identification, that's why I'm saying that's where we're not finding each other, because that's not what I've meant here. I contrasted this. I've drafted this affidavit, and that's not the meaning that I had in mind. What I meant is there was a description, perhaps to use this term, given by the accused as to how the first intruder was, what he was wearing, and the type of the clothing that he had. Fast tracking to the downloading of the cell phone, a similar clothing is found fitting that description, if I must use the term, so that we agree. Not necessarily that there was a physical identification of clothing, my lord.
Manje ke ngifuna ukubeka lana ukuthi ke kukhona amazwi amagama athi uma setshenziswa kube amagama asho into eyodwa. Kodwa ke amagama ebengizama ukwasebenzisa la befuna ukuzama ukuchaza ukuthi yebo kwaba nencazelo yabantu abachazayo ukuthi umuntu ayigqokeni. Uma sesiyake ezithombeni fike sithole izithombe ezina lezinto lezi achazwe ukuthi wayezigqokile. Angasho phela ukuthi bengafuna ukuchaza ukuthi kwaba khona ukuthi umuntu amiswe lapha kuthiwa khomba ukuthi yini la igqokile ukuthi nange uye lo ogqoke le yanto. Kodwa ke ngisho ukuthi ke sasiphela sasiqhathanisa lokho kwakutholakala ezithombeni nalokho okuchazwe yilabantu ababesifakazi ababufakazi.
Thank you, Brigadier. I won't take issue with the usage of terms like identification and description. At least now you are explaining it, that you actually meant to say description. But when I read it, I said identify. Identify means you just go and have a comba thing, like to go and point it out. Do you understand? But thank you for the explanation. It eases my mind.
Understood, my lord.
Thank you. Now let us proceed. Photos downloaded taken of the accused by himself, open bracket, selfies, close bracket, matched the description of the suspect who had the firearm with dreadlocks, big eyes, and with a gold teeth.
Izithombe ezadownloadwa kule phone izithombe ezazithathwe umsolwa ezithatha yena ngaleli gama elisetshenziswayo kulamalanga kuthiwa yi-selfie ezifana nalezi ezazichazwe la kwakuchazwa khona ukuthi umsolwa owayephethe isibhamu wayenama-dreadlocks enamehlo amakhulu and futhi ke wayenegolide emazinyeni.
Yes, my lord, I'm listening.
Thank you. Now let's go to I think it's Exhibit S, isn't it? The downloaded pictures.
Yes.
Pictures of the downloading, yes. Now, I am going to request you to meticulously go through Exhibit S. As I told you initially, said that this is an affidavit, and you really would understand better as a manager in subs what an affidavit and what is it that is being said in an affidavit entails. But having said that, let's go to Exhibit S. You take us to those photos, those downloaded photos that were taken by the accused himself with dreadlocks, big eyes, and with the golden teeth. We can request the state to page for us on the accused persons can also follow. Start with the first picture.
Yes, my lord. So which
Yes.
part do you want me to describe? All the pictures that are now under this exhibit.
Okay, let me leave you to do your own identification of the picture that has the accused, that has the suspect, who is now said to be accused number 3 with dreadlocks, big eyes, and with a golden teeth from the downloaded pictures. This information that you told the magistrate.
Yeah, so my lord, firstly, so I'll identify those pictures. But firstly, remember, sorry, my lord, my apologies. What I wanted to say, this is a summary, it's a collective of pictures that were taken with dreadlocks, and others are showing, obviously, the clothing, as I've indicated, my lord, and
Yes.
others which I've identified and dealt with them during the evidence in chief. In particular, photo number 15, and I've dealt with photo number 15, where I said, this is the accused with the gold teeth incision. I even said, my lord, when there was seemingly a concern about it, I said, because of the angle, I'll understand the concern of the accused. But myself, this is a photo where I said it resembled accused 3 with the gold teeth incision on the upper lip. So that is insofar as the gold teeth. The others, my lord, we've dealt with these pictures, like the first one that we dealt with, where he's wearing a khaki top, the dreadlocks are there. Yesterday we dealt with the length of the dreadlocks on different angles. We've dealt with these pictures, my lord, on various occasions. So I'm not sure. That's why I'm saying I'm not sure whether I should go back to it. This is the one with the gold teeth incision called number 15, which we've dealt with. So this part of my affidavit referred to these downloads, my lord, because by the time I made this affidavit, I had these downloads in my possession, my lord.
Lana khona bengikhuluma ngezithombe eziningi la kubonakala khona ke nalesi sithombe number 15 la kubonakala khona ke izinye negolide elungumsola wesithathu ngase ngaphinde ngachaza futhi ukuthi ke ngendlela ke okuthathwe ngayo ngeengeli kuthathwe ngayo mhlambe ke kungaba nenkinga ukuthi bonakale kahle kodwa ke ezinye izithombe zikhona lapha nale izithombe ezikhomba ukuthi unama dreadlocks amade kangakanani nezinye izithombe kodwa bese sidlulile kulezi izithombe nezincazelo zazo.
And with regard to the selfies, my lord, the report I got was that the photos were taken from the device itself. This is now from the forensic team. And I remember I was shown that the email number of the said device that was active in 2014 was the same handset in terms of, if you follow the email reference that I've checked myself, that was downloaded in 2015. So in other words, if you take the downloading, the details of the cell phone, the handset that was downloaded in 2015 after it was seized, it's alleged that it was seized from accused 3. If you look at that identification in terms of the email number and you move it back to 2014 in October, particularly when we managed to get hold of the section 205s, because you can see the email number. If you read that email number, which at the time we didn't even have, but suppose that the experts were able to say these photos were taken by the handset, meaning the owner of the phone would have used the same camera in essence. And I can say I've collaborated that, my lord, on my own. When the 205, first we had the 205 that starts in November, which indicates 2014 that the handset was not changed. But going backwards, even to the ones that came while this court was in session, which covers the period of this incident in October 2014, even then the handset is still the same as the one that was downloaded in after it was seized in Feb 2015. So I'm referring to the issue of the selfies to say this is a report I've got, but it was supported by documents that I've checked in terms of that unchanging chain, my lord.
Malana nezithombe udathatha zona ama-selfie la ayethathwe ngayo le cellphone le eyatholakala noma eyathathwa kumsona ngoba kuthiwa le cellphone yayisebenza ngo-2014 and futhi-ke nokuthi-ke uma kukhishwa lama-download lawa akhishwa kuyona ngo-2015 ekhishwa kuyo le phone le ethathwe kumsolo ngoba-ke lokho sakwazi ukuthi siqinisekise emva kokuthi-ke siyocela i-section 205 ngoba i-section 205 iyaveza konke yaveza ne-IMEI number ekhombisayo ukuthi lezi iy'thombe zazithathwe kuyo le phone lena evela lapha ngale IMEI number.
Yes, my lord.
Awukahle brigadier. Hayi na. Ngiyashiyeka impela. In other words, it means I'm getting lost. Now let's do it like this. I can understand it's been a very long week. Yeah. But let's do it like this. This, it's a supposed situation. Now, this is the magistrate. It's reading your, and by the way, in terms of how affidavits are made, when you refer to something like a photo and stuff like that, you need to touch it as you need to affix it as an attachment, like Exhibit A, B, C, and all those things. You understand? When you refer to a photo with maybe a person who has got dreadlocks, you attach that photo. See Exhibit A. You see, that is how affidavit works. But let us do it this way. Now, there's a magistrate that is reading this paragraph, and you are saying to him, photos that were downloaded, taken of the accused by himself, in brackets, selfish. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, my lord. Matched the description of the suspect who had the firearm with dreadlocks. Now the magistrate would say, okay, this suspect who had a firearm, how did it look like? That's not his business. The magistrate. With big eyes. How did these eyes look like? That is not his business. And with the golden teeth, it's not his business. But let us assume, in an imaginary situation, the magistrate, hey, Brigadier Kininda, come. Bring those downloaded photos. And then the magistrate says to you, okay, show me the photo of the person who has got dreadlocks, big eyes, and with a golden teeth. And we have got Exhibit S before you. Which photos would you have shown that magistrate to represent this description from Exhibit S?
That's a good place, my lord. Once more, we really don't know what the basis for these questions are to the witness, and you know, we'll briefly refer to Section 43 in terms of which, you know, a warrant is applied.
Yeah, just read it.
Yes, Section 43 reads as follows. The headings: warrant of arrest may be issued by a magistrate or justice. It says any magistrate or justice may issue a warrant for the arrest of any person upon the written application of an attorney general, a public prosecutor, or a commissioned officer of police, as in the case of Brigadier Gininda. Subparagraph A, which sets out the offense alleged to have been committed. B, which alleges that such offense was committed within the area of jurisdiction of such magistrate, or in the case of a justice, within the area of jurisdiction of the magistrate, within whose district or area application is made to the justice for such warrant, or where such offense was not committed within such area of jurisdiction, which alleges that the person in respect of whom the application is made is known or is on reasonable grounds suspected to be within such area of jurisdiction, and subparagraph C, which states that from information taken upon oath, there is a reasonable suspicion that the person in respect of whom the warrant is applied for has committed the alleged offense. The rest of the subsections relates to jurisdiction. I'll just quickly read them. Notwithstanding any other law, an application for a warrant under this section in respect of the offenses listed in subsection 21(1)(a), A to D, may be made to any magistrate or justice, irrespective of whether or not the place of execution of the warrant or the place where the alleged crime has been committed falls within the jurisdiction of such magistrate or justice. In subsection 2, a warrant of arrest issued under this section shall direct that the person described in the warrant shall be arrested by a peace officer in respect of the offense set out in the warrant, and that he be brought before a lower court in accordance with the provisions of section 50. And lastly, subparagraph 3, a warrant of arrest may be issued on any day and shall remain in force until it is cancelled by the person who issued it, or if such person is not available by any person with like authority, or until it is executed. So this details that counsel is asking from the witness. It's not what the law says. The law is straight to the point. There has to be evidence under oath that there's a reasonable suspicion that the person for whom a warrant is sought has committed the offense. That's all that the section requires.
As it please the court, my lord, this has got nothing to do with the warrant of arrest. This has got everything to do with the description of the person as described in the affidavit, which affidavit refers to Exhibit S. I'm not in the warrant of arrest. And for that matter, the warrant of the section that my colleague has read says the reasonable suspicion that the person against whom the warrant of arrest is being applied for has committed the offense. Now, what this application seeks to say, it simply means that the person that I have referred to in paragraph 3 as Mr. Mnube has committed these offenses. Amongst others, he has been is proved that he has committed this offense. He is being identified by the witnesses through these features, and these are those features. That is where I am, my lord. Warrant of arrest, I don't attack the validity of the issuing of the warrant of arrest. And I've indicated at the very onset of this, when I introduced this affidavit, that I do not know for what purpose this affidavit was penned for. Brigadier Kininda said when it was applied for warrant of arrest. No, warrant of arrest is fine. Their validity is good. They are not at issue here. I am simply requesting this witness, my lord, as he is saying that the photos, his description of the suspect in the affidavit matches some of the description that are mentioned in Exhibit S. Now I'm saying it to him. Can you please marry what is contained in your affidavit with what is contained in Exhibit S? I don't know what is the difficulty with that. I don't know. If he is unable to marry them because they are not marriable, he can simply say that. But if he is able to marry them because they are compatible, then there he is. He should continue to do that. But warrant of arrest, no. I'm not there. When I make mention of the fact that, let us say that the magistrate is here and then he says, can you help me? I said, let us suppose. I was just trying to simplify things.
Does the law stipulate that?
Stipulate what, madam?
What you are saying? Let's suppose the magistrate is here. Does it stipulate that the magistrate must or shall?
No.
So what are we talking about? Let's talk about the law.
It doesn't, man.
Because I'm here for the law.
Yes, my lord. Let us exclude that portion.
Yeah,
then I
because
request this witness then to take me through vis-a-vis his affidavit.
Fine. I don't have a
Yes.
problem with that. As long as you don't involve the magistrate, because that section talks nothing about what the magistrate should do.
Yes, my lord. I am then saying, may you kindly, Brigadier, in humble submission to God Almighty, take me to the photos, or take this court to the photos which depict the person on whose photos were found in accused number 3's download, who has got the dreadlocks, the big eyes, and the golden teeth. From Exhibit S.
ngicela usikhombise lapha ku-exhibit S ukuthi-ke uphi lo muntu watholwa enama-dreadlock enamehlo amakhulu nezinga eliyigolide lapha kulezo ithombe ziku-exhibition S.
Clearly, my lord, then I think we must do the whole exercise that I've done, going through these pictures from the first one, because
You're
we've been
welcome.
through, because, yeah, if I can just finish out to give
thank you.
because,
I'm sorry,
yeah,
I'm sorry.
because we've been through that exercise. So, but gladly, if the dog can just go straight to picture number 1. But, however, my lord, while he's doing that, you see, this is a problem, and I think this is where we seem to not to find each other with Advocate Mnisi. When you select certain portions of the affidavit and not reading it its entirety, that's what creates this misunderstanding, because you need to read what was presented to the magistrate, what am I saying, and what I attach, because this affidavit goes with the indictment. As much as I'm applying for J50, I also refer to the indictment. That's number 1, my lord.
Oqala-ke ngicela ukuthi-ke siyele kuleziya y'thombe, kodwa-ke uma sisibuyela leziya y'thombe kuzochaza ukuthi-ke fanele ngiyozibukeza zonke leziya y'thombe ngoba besengichazile ngalezi y'thombe, kodwa ngicela ukuthi-ke uvuma ukuthi ngoba ingathi okwenzayo nje ukuthi uhamba ufike uyokhetha into ethize lapha kwe-affidavit ungavele ufune, ngoba le affidavit ifanele ifundwe yonke ukuthi bengizama ukuchazana ngifuna ukubekani phambi kwami kwemanje.
Secondly, my lord, the affidavit is very clear. It says photos downloaded or taken from the accused by himself or selfies matches the description of the suspect who had the firearm with dreadlocks, big eyes, with the gold teeth. This is the description given by the people who are inside the house. That's why I said it matches. So that's why I'm saying you need to take this thing collectively. But if you're going to take it in isolation, you'll have this misunderstanding. You have to take into account that this description comes from the people who are inside the house. Subsequent to that, you then have this downloading. And this downloading, you don't look at one picture and expect to find everything. It's a collective. That's why I said it's downloading. You look at it collectively. And that is why even when we are dealing with evidence in chief, when Advocate Baloyi was leading me, we went photo by photo. It is not just one specific photo where you expect to find all these things. That's why others have a date of the incidents. Others don't have a date. But what they have, it's what you will find insofar as the similarities that are referred to in relation to accused number 3.
Manje lapha i-affidavit iyachaza ukuthi-ke la maselfie lawa ahambisana noma afanana nelezi ithombe lezi kuthiwa zathathwa lapha ku-download lapha ethombeni ezitholakala lapha efonini kaMsodo ngoba ukufana nakhona kuveza phela ama-dreadlocks, kuveza ke amehlo, kuphinde kuveze naleli zinyo legolide. Kodwa ke incazelo lena phela incazelo masithi kuyahambisana kuhamba nencazelo le eyalethwa yilabantu ababekhona lapha endlini ababewufakazi. Kodwa ke ngithi mina ungabheki isithombe esisodwa, fanele usibheke zonke ngoba nami ngelanga ngizichaza ngayo sahamba savela sabheka zonke iy'thombe. So ke namanje kungakuhle ukuthi uzibheke iy'thombe zizonke ngoba incazelo lena ayivele esithombeni esisodwa kodwa ivele ey'thombeni ey'ningi ekuvele ukuthi uma sekuhlangana-ke bese kuletha lesi sithombe esibonakalayo ukuthi lo muntu okukhulunywa ngayo wayenjani.
Further, my lord, I'm not done. If you can just be patient with me, Mnisi. Sorry to interject. I'm not done. I'll indicate. Furthermore, my lord, insofar as the attachment, and I agree with him, I've seen that, where when you refer to a certain document, you will then attach it, because that's what Advocate Mnisi, you'll attach it. But in this instance, I was not referring to a specific photo. I'm referring to the downloads. And now the rules of engagement for criminal proceedings and civil actions, civil proceedings, is not the same insofar as I know. Here, when you apply for a warrant of arrest, my lord, you compile your statement as I've done with the DPP. You take the entire docket. You don't attach and direct them in terms of an affidavit. The DPP or the NPA will peruse the docket, make an informed decision based on the docket that is in front of them. And that is the same procedure when I went down now for the warrant of arrest. You take the docket. There is no reason for me to attach exhibit because the advocate or the SPP that signed the warrant of arrest is not necessarily Advocate Baloyi. It was the state senior public prosecutor in Boksburg. So he had to acquaint himself with the dockets, reading the docket, and that's how I've been taught. You take the docket. You don't just take a statement and say, here's a statement, I need the authorization. You take the entire docket. The SPP will peruse the docket, and it will be the same if the magistrate chooses to do that, my lord. So that's how it is done. You don't attach things as Annexure A or BB1, BB2, BB3. You may do that, but insofar as the warrants that I know, my lord, you take the docket, and that's what I've done.
Manje ke mayelana ke nezinto ezibekwa edocket encwadi njengesithasiselo kusho ukuthi ke uma kuwukuthi ufuna ukuthi ukhulume ngamadokhumenti athize aqhunywa ke kuleyo document noma namathiselwe kuleyo document, yebo uyabhala lapho ngendlela ekwenziwa ngayo, uyabhala ukuthi cha kukhona le engikhuluma ngayo ikhona la, kodwa lana phela bengadingeka ukuthi ngize ngibhale ukuthi cha khona le document kufanele ibheke ngoba uma ngiya lapha ngiyomnika ulona u-NPA noma u-DPP angimniki amadokhumenti athize, ngimnika idokethi eliphelele nawo konke okufanele ngaphakathi ube ngaphakathi kwedokhumenti. Kwenziwa kanjani?
Now, my lord, we can then proceed. I suppose we can start with picture number 1. If I can have a highlighter, so then I can refer to the photos that are relevant insofar as accused 3 and this paragraph is concerned, my lord.
I'm not stopping you, but I'm noting something in terms of time. That it's almost 9 minutes to 3. I think this exercise might go beyond 3 o'clock, which is the time at which our colleagues from the different departments needs to go and prepare them. You know, others are driving to Morapi prison, others are driving to Joburg prison and stuff like that. At least whilst we are engaging, we also need to have due regard to them, you understand? So I don't think within 9 minutes would have been finished. So that would also give you an opportunity. Look, I want to be fair to you. It's a little bit tedious. It's been a very long week. The mind gets fatigue and stuff like that. But if you're able to go through over the weekends and then you're able to go and prepare this answer again, in all fairness. But again, in the fairness of our colleagues here, it's almost 8 minutes to 3, you see. So we also need to have regard to them and respect their processes as well. Therefore, if everybody is amenable to the request that I'm going to make to the court, I'll be very happy. My Lord, on behalf of my colleagues from the defense and probably from the state as well, may I request that we take an adjournment for the week, for the day. We come back on Monday with fresh minds and we'll proceed with this point when we come back, my Lord. Thank you.
My Lord, if I may say, I obviously I don't have much to say about the request from Advocate Mnisi, but insofar as going through this album, I'm ready. I mean, it's before me. I know what I've done. I do not need time for that. But obviously, if the request is to say we must adjourn to go through them on Monday, it shouldn't be that because I'm not ready. They're here. I know what I've done in terms of the investigation, and I am able to deal with them up to the last picture, my Lord.
Yes, Mr. Malloy, what say you?
It's a repetition of his evidence. We can carry on until 3:30 if the witness is ready, my Lord.
My Lord, to be honest, I've got fatigue. I'm tired.
Oh, you are tired.
Yes.
Okay, he says he's tired. Mr. Namsipidi,
I do not have an objection, my Lord. It's been a long week.
are you tired also?
I'm not tired, I'm focused, but if the cross-examiner is tired, my Lord,
Okay,
we should
yes,
give him that indulgence.
Thank you, my Lord. I have no objection to the request.
No objection, ma'am.
No objection, tired. We may continue. Mr. Mnisi says he's tired.
Thank you.
So I would have loved us to continue because of our critics who say we are at the slightest drop of the hat.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So for the reasons furnished by Mr. Mnisi, we shall adjourn until Monday.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.